We are back with session number 4. And when you're in session number 4, you know you've made it to the end of the night. And this is the special session because not only are we here to share knowledge and information, but Dan's going to talk to us about rewiring lights in your basement.
No, don't have Dan rewire anything.
You guys totally missed it before we went on air. Dan had fluorescent lights going on, and they were kind of flickering, and we're like, yeah, flickering a little bit. And he just basically stood up and swatted the light off. I mean, it's like, woo.
Hey, you don't mess with me. I'm telling you. Take out one light at a time.
If you're going to flicker, you don't stand next to Dan.
Oh my God,
Hip slapped the light. That's what he did.
He's going to bring the hurt on the light. Tonight we've got a few topics. This is our week, the week of the news type of. We're going to be looking at a few things this evening. A couple of them that you guys might have heard of. A couple that might be new to you. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, you can. In the description, you can find the link to bounce over to YouTube. That's where the questions and things will be, because it's tough for us to follow Facebook Live. We've had some great shows tonight. If you go into that description, you'll be able to find those links for the shows. We've had a lot of great information on marketing. We had some new lights, and then Jonathan, DJ Woopig, was on. First time with us on one of our live shows, and that was just a fun show, talking about ways to get started as a mobile DJ. So, good stuff. Who's got the official list of topics for tonight? Da-da-da.
We have 4 topics, and you want to tell them the topics are first, or are we just going to jam into it?
Let's just jam into it. What's our first topic?
Okay, the first one was brought to us by Shaney. Thank you, Shaney.
Dun, dun, dun. So
all of us grabbed one this week, because every one of us, I think that should be our homework from now on, is we all grab one topic, because this way it worked out. Dan picked one, John picked one, I picked one, and Shaney picked one.
I hope mine's better.
Yours is good. I think all of them are good.
Actually, yeah, well, they were all good.
It's going to be a little bit more opinion-y. The other ones are going to be a little bit more actual fact.
I'm going to go all Ben Stowe on you.
It depends. Okay, go ahead. Shaney, what was?
Are we going to have the Ben Stowe translator? Because I seriously think we need to invest into a Ben Stowe translator.
I haven't done that for a while, but I still think I can speak translation from.
He's tough. I mean, it's like I'm sitting there going, I know what he's talking about, but the words he's putting together make no sense in that order.
And yet they just keep coming, and they eventually make.
And they get bigger words. And
thank you guys for watching in the chat room. We've got a lot of folks there. DJ Brandon, Jose is with us. Yeah, thanks for hanging with us, Jose, tonight. Jimmy is still there, wondering why vinyl isn't mandatory for DJing, and that's okay, Jimmy.
We'll get there. Because I can tell you why, but you won't like it.
Yeah, got a good crew. So let's get on our first topic. What do we have?
All right, first topic came to us. Shaney brought it to our attention. I keep forgetting. And it started out with a post on Promo Only's page, and you actually take the link and you go to another blog about DJing, but it was basically asking, is mixing important? But the title that Promo Only put really kind of like, Shaney, how did you say it? Opened up a can. Their title that they put to that was Mixing, Important as a DJ or Antiquated? And there were boatloads of posts. People follow up. First thing I want to say is that I cannot honestly believe we're having this conversation. It's stupid to have this conversation, but we're going to have it. Second, in that post on Promo Only, there was guys from Pittsburgh commenting on there saying that nobody in any club or bar ever wants to hear a DJ scratch. Okay, if you make that statement, you've never been to a club or bar, or you're so freaking old you don't know what 21 to 25-year-olds want, so stop commenting. From Pittsburgh, you know who you are. Stop commenting, because we'll all pull our little DJ. What do they call that? DJ on. What's that called when they do that? They put DJ on. What's it called?
On blast.
Slap.
On blast.
On blast. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll put them on blast. But basically, it talks about is this mixing matter, and I want to start this off, and then Shaney, you can go with something that I think is important, that we must define things, because a lot of arguments and everything start sometimes because two people are meaning two different definitions. Okay. So when we're talking about does mixing matter, is mixing dead, we want to talk, because I believe there's two people in this conversation. When the ones who, there's two and then two. The people who think mixing is important, people don't. But in the people who don't, there are two categories in there. And this is where I think we need to define, just so we kind of don't incite a riot. One is the person who doesn't mix, and they're okay with that. And they're okay with other people who mix, and they understand that they don't mix, and they accept that, and they're really cool about it. And then there's the other half, like the guys making the comments, who don't mix, but yet because they don't mix, and I don't know whether it's because they can't mix or they choose not to mix, one or the other, they go off on a deep end saying that mixing is stupid, it's a waste, it's unimportant. And those are the two people. So we need to make sure that we're not yelling at someone who doesn't mix. If they accept that they don't mix, that's fine. But saying it's not mixing and then saying it's unimportant is insane. And I've got quotes from the article that I want to get to here in a bit, but that's where we're going to start with. So I just don't want to drop that in Shaney's lap. So because I think that we really need to be careful, because there's some people out there who don't mix and are okay with it, and that's fine. But it's the other people who run their mouth that need Dan to come and pimp slap their lights out. Slap someone's lights out. Shaney, go with it, please.
Okay, so here's my whole thing about mixing versus not mixing. I mean, of course, I personally am pro mixing because I blend, I mix. That's what I do. All my events, I can't not do it. It's just, that's how I do it. I don't need it in my writer or anything that I'm going to be a mixer. It's just who I am. But what I always say to people when I do hear those DJs that say, oh, I do weddings and I just, either slam songs or I let it fade or I do this, and I know this was in the article, my whole thing about it is exactly what the article said. Do that set and do it how you do it with let it fade or let it, slam, and then do the same exact set for those same people on the dance floor and mix and blend that whole set and see the response, the energy, everything on the dance floor and see the difference. Because again, we're as much as we're mixing for ourselves, we're mixing for the crowd. We're feeling off the crowd. We're doing this, I'm a hot mixer. So I don't do, I'm in and out of songs except if they're singing, like Bon Jovi or something. And I have to keep playing because then they'll look back at me and give me that death face that like, did you just mix right after, the first chorus?
How dare you?
How dare you? It's my life. It's now or never, damn it. So I just, those I let go longer, but I don't understand. And maybe somebody in the chat room can give me insight on a DJ that doesn't mix and the reasoning for not mixing, because I just feel it's essential. It's why you're a DJ. It's what separates you from the beginning people who get a laptop, get free software, get music off of YouTube and say that they're a DJ. And you say to your clients, what makes you different as a DJ compared to other people? My whole thing is I take people on a musical journey. And I can't take people on a musical journey if I'm stopping a song and starting a next one or slamming a song or doing this. Do I slam songs every once in a while? Of course I do, especially if 90 people are coming up to me and they want Panda and they want Panda now and they're all coming over to me and I'm not even in a hip hop set and I can't even think to throw in my transition of 128 to 70 beats per minute at that moment and they're all on top of me and I'm fine, here you go. Here, see, I didn't turn knobs. I hit the cross fader.
Yeah, it's more violent.
You're pimp slapping your slider.
Yeah, no, I'm doing my fader channel. Right? I didn't turn knobs, but that's my opinion on the whole mixing thing. I just think that if you're a DJ, and I know in the last segment he was talking about practice, and that's my thing about it. Just practice, whether it's your setup, setting up your speaker system, setting up anything for a DJ. Practice. That's what's going to set you apart. And it's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. There, I'm off my soapbox now. I'm going to step off of it.
I want to say the first thing the guy said in the article that goes along with what Shaney just said there. This is a quote from the article. Along the way, we learn programming matters. We figure out that if you line up a certain song in a certain way, you have a great crowd response. The difference between mixing and not mixing is someone who doesn't mix is going to tend to, and I'm trying to be really nice here, stick to just those two songs they find out they work. To someone who mixes any two songs, we can make that happen. Back to back to back to back to back all night. We don't have to pick those two songs. We can pick any two songs and have that transition be so hot that it gets there. The thing I want to say here, and this is where it gets into my opinion, if a DJ doesn't mix and keeps the same songs in the same order because they know that the two songs work, that is lazy and boring. Dan?
I'm like, wait,
Why is he looking at his
Well, Dan's busy thinking of his response.
when we talk about people who don't mix, it immediately comes to mind a couple of friends of mine who do this and do it well, and they don't pick the two songs. They're not quite in the MJ category of picking the two songs, and always picking those two songs back to back because they know they work. But their philosophy has always been, I'm going to play the song, and I'm going to play the song, and I'm going to transition the way they do in a radio, where it's going to be a nice fade, and it's not abrupt or whatever, and it's not a dead spot, but it's not to the full on mixing and matching BPM and et cetera, et cetera. And I've gone back and forth with them because I'm kind of falling into the category of a little bit of both. I mix when I can mix, and I fade when I just don't feel it, or I'm trying to go to songs that are not going to work well to mix together because I don't have that talent. When I had that conversation with them, the response is the guest doesn't care. The client doesn't care. We're talking about wedding guys. We're talking about private party guys. We're not talking about club events. And I would argue that in some ways they're right, but I don't think they don't care because they don't care. I think they don't care because they don't know. They don't expect it in a lot of cases. And when they've been to those events and they see their high energy and having the great response, they go, "That was a great DJ." They don't know because that was a great DJ because he mixed. They go, "That was a great party, and he was a great DJ." No clue why.
Yeah.
So yeah, the average person, when we're trying to talk to them and go, "I'm better because this," it's going to come off. It's going to come off a little bit different. I agree that it should be there, and it does make things go smoother. And I've also made this point before on a Monday night talk that we've had that if you're having a song that bombs, guess what? It's a heck of a lot easier to get out of it by mixing than to try and fade. Because when you try and fade at that 2 minute mark instead of the 4 minute mark, it's noticeable. But when you mix out, it looks like you meant to do that.
I mean, and it doesn't matter. I mean, you could slam out of that stuff too. I'm not saying that everybody has to do 100% mixing on all events. I mean, me at the club, I have to do 100% mixing at a club. Like I have to. Like things will probably get thrown at me, and because in Chicago there's so many clubs and so many DJs out there. For us, it's the DJ. It's the DJs that are bringing in the people. Like, oh, who's spinning tonight? Oh, where's Chi-Town Shani spinning? Oh, I gotta go check her out. I mean, I spun last night, and I usually don't spin on a Sunday night, and they asked me to spin. And first of all, the club was open until 3:30 in the morning on a Sunday, and I was like, are there alcoholics out there? I don't understand. But
Sunday.
Right. And on the Sunday, and I had a very diverse crowd, and I loved it because it was challenging for me. And I actually was able to mix genres that I've never, ever done in my life. And I went from, pop top 40 into bachata. And mixed it seamlessly, and I actually did give myself a high five. Like I was like, "Go Shani," I straight up high five myself, and and that's because that was the type of crowds that I had. But it was like for me, that was awesome. That was practice, and I'm like, I'm gonna straight up try this on an event. This is great. So things that I didn't know that I could do, other people would be like, "Oh wait, top 40 into bachata. Yeah, no, I have to fade out, or I would have to stop a song and go into it." But my whole thing is on private events, I'm scared that the minute you hear just that one little piece of silence or that one just dead second, half a second, people are just going to start walking off the dance floor, whether the next song is great or not, because in their head, they're already, I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to get a cigarette break. I'm going to that cool photo booth that's out in the parking lot. They're saying whatever they're saying. So even if the next song is great, they're already in their mindset that they're walking off. So now you have to try to get them back. Whereas if you're just keep blending and how to do the beats per minute to, make their heart go up and then bring the energy back down and do this, do that. For me, that's a perfect event, perfect club night, perfect party, perfect everything. And you have to practice that. That doesn't come overnight. That it doesn't. And even like Dan was saying, how he, he does mix and he does, do the fades. I'm sure he's practicing that too. It's not like, oh, well, I fade, so, I'm not going to practice this. You have to know the songs. You have to know like what, when the song is ending, it's not just dead like that. And again, people are walking off the dance floor. So still, like I said before, practice. You have to, in my opinion, you have to know how to mix. You have to know how to blend it in my area, or you're not going to make it.
I want to real quick go back to Dan, and you talked about a person not, getting the people. I don't know how you said it, the energy level, and that they really don't care. With what Shaney said, we talked about being diverse, and I said that you could pick any two songs. And Shaney, I'm an open format DJ, so a lot of places I do, like my Friday nights, I literally am doing flat out, straight up Spanish songs, into Taylor Swift, into everything. So I don't care. I'll mix it and I'll make it work. And that's the thing with mixing. In the classes that I teach, I don't like to call them DJ classes, because to me, DJing also involves knowing your music, like you said, knowing what the song begins with. Because I can look at a song and go, okay, that song has an outro, so I need an intro that maybe doesn't have a beat that I can put over that to mix them well together. If one has a dead cut, then maybe I want to find one that has a dead cut that comes in, so I can keep that energy level popping right off, drop it on the one, like you talked about slamming. I call it drop it on the one. But in my classes, I teach 30 different ways to transition two songs together. So imagine that in a night, you using half of them, 15 different ways all night long, never doing the same thing over and over. Not, like a lot of guys will beat match into beat match into beat match into beat match into beat match. You've got to be creative, because you've got to keep every 3 songs. You have to rethink that these people are in a lifespan where the average video segment in a show is about 1 second long if you average them out from cut to cut. So they're thinking in their lives, cut to cut to cut to cut. So that's why I think mixing is important, because you don't have to do every song in a club or something. Yes, you do. Don't you ever dare in a club or bar not mix, because I will come up there and I'll kick you out myself. I've pointed out to DJs all the time. I'm like, you just take that. I saw you put those 3 songs. They were mixed, pre-mixed. Don't make me go there.
That's another topic.
We're going to get there. So 30 different ways to transition songs. So think about that, how creative your whole night, every night you're out, every type of music you have, how creative you can be with that. Even, and this is the thing, even if you're in a pinch and you have to announce something and you have to get out of this song into something to announce or something, practicing your skills will help you make that transition with one hand while you're talking. Because I literally, a lot of times, I have a boom mic that sits in front of me when I mix, so that I'm 2 hands mixing while I'm talking on the mic, mixing. So that I might be blending something in while I'm talking, and I'm mixing while I'm talking, then out it goes. Back to Dan about practicing. This is something I teach in my class, and I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. I can show you 100 times, but you're going to have to practice 1,000 before you'll get it.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So
okay,
practice.
We're going to take our 90-second break here with our sponsors for our summer show, and then we'll be back, and either we'll go into the history of this a little bit, or we'll go to our next topic.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Hits USA from RPM. Our name says it all. Get the latest hits while they're the hottest. With Top Hits USA, you'll have the track for sure. Visit tophitsusa.com or call 800-521-2537 and get a free demo.
Okay, before we get out of this topic, I wanted to share just a little bit about what it was like. Some of us have been around for at least 5 years. And when we first started in central Minnesota, we actually had one of the largest multi-system DJ companies in this area. And we did the bars in the area, and we did a lot of private events and such, and a lot of teen dances, college dances, what have you. Back when we first started, what we were being compared to is what people experienced in this area, which is watching old-time bands, which is your polka and waltz bands. That's what was very common throughout the kind of rural part of Minnesota and Wisconsin. And we also had the different bands that were playing. There was only one band really that would go out there and play like a DJ played, where they would go from song to song to song. Every band had dead air. Basically, they would play a song and then it would be. That's what we were compared to when we first started. Back in the mid '80s when we were doing this stuff. Dead air was almost expected. What we did.
When we had bands, we toured. That was one of the things that, because like I told you, my ex-booking agent used to get me in working with a lot of bands because I could see and stuff. And we actually built transitions into songs because they would stop between them. Like, don't stop. Make a transition between the song.
And that wasn't part of our whole...
Shaney, did you see that in the 80s or did you see the mixing?
I was born, like 95. No, I'm just like...
I'm so sorry, Shaney. I'm so sorry.
21.
On the left side of my body.
About that later, Shaney. Go ahead about how it changed.
So it was back in the day, though. It's interesting to look at where we came from. Is that back then, dead air was completely accepted, and we actually became one of the first companies in the area that did not have dead air. That at that time, with our remedial tools that we had, that we were able to fade and mix over top. I mean, we were the first ones that were using faders on boards around this area. Most DJs in this area weren't using that at the time. So it was a transition from that to then getting to the point where you were now actually, instead of just fading out of one song and fading into the next one, now we were actually trying to intentionally hitting some spots in the songs and then all the way to where we are today. So it's, in some areas, it's been here for 25, 30 years. Some areas it's been here for 40 years. But it's just one of those things that in this day and age, you have to have that ability. Now, I can't go and if I have dead air for like Friday night, I did a street dance and we had a problem with one of our players and I hit the wrong button and I had dead air for like a half a second. And I had drunks who are like right there to go, ah! It's a different world. 25, 30 years ago, if I would have done that, they would have been like, oh, that's nothing new. Must be switching songs. So,
that was one of the things in the article the guy was talking about. Do you not realize that you sound like a sneaker in a washing machine or worse, like local radio stations? And the one guy, like I said, from Pittsburgh who was posting on that talked about that, that mixing and scratching doesn't matter. Just go ahead to a club with 21 to 25-year-olds or an under 21 club and don't mix and see if you don't you will literally get stuff thrown at you. I'm not kidding. There was a place here in Pittsburgh where the DJ was kind of crappy. I was subcontracting for a company. Every once in a while, they had me fill in. He's like, I need you to fill in such and such a place. I'm like, why? What's wrong with the other guy? They're like, well, he had stuff thrown at him. Somebody cracked him in the head with something. They took me in there just to calm the crowd down. But I don't know. But that was 90s, John. So that's why I really don't understand. Because in the 80s, before I got started, I was hanging out with guys, and I lived in a small town, hanging out with guys that literally went to national battles.
Yeah.
They did scratching and everything in the mid 80s. So
yeah, it just hadn't made its way out here. That
and the local radio stations had the mix shows, and
very seldom. I
feel like there was an article in Mobile Beat probably within the last year, and I'm blanking on who wrote it now, but they were talking about how and I'm really vague because it's been a while since I read the article, but where Studio 54 first started with their actual idea of mixing and blending the songs together and stuff like that, and how it had kind of grown out of nowhere. Before it was just two songs together, and because that's all they kind of had the equipment for.
Yeah.
And I'd have to dig it back out because maybe I'm totally remembering the story wrong.
All right,
let's move on to our next topic. We need to hit one more.
Two things. The DMC competition that's right now, the big DM, if you don't know of it, started in 85. Okay. Do you know what DMC stands for? Anyone?
Direct Music Channel.
Nope.
Disco
Mix Club.
Okay.
That was a competition of mixing in 85. And the final thing I want to say is from the article, the guy goes, heck, there are even apps on your phone that can mix. So why aren't you mixing?
Yeah, very much so. The DJ program can do a really nice job mixing if you're using a similar BPM.
Pyro. Go get Serato Pyro, and you'll blow your mind that that's out there in your pocket.
Crazy. Okay, next topic. What do we got?
This one is one that I found, and again, I hope I'm not talking too much, and I only made about that much notes on it compared to the other page and a half. Freestyle is another competition, and past week in Australia Championships, DJ G Smooth was caught using a pre-recorded set in the competition, so that he wasn't doing it, he was faking doing it. And he was disqualified. And the thing funny is, if you look at the video and how hard he's working, faking doing it, I think he worked harder faking it than he would have if he just did it. But he did go back and show the video of him doing it again. But you know, if you talk about people faking it, there was one in an international competition that fakes fake DJ.
So I watched one of the videos, and I would guess that was the one from the competition.
If you watch the first, not the one where he said I'm doing it live, the very first one where was on the stage.
Yeah, there was a guy with a microphone. I was behind him and making a couple of announcements. I was watching that and I'm thinking to myself, did any of the people in the room know that, or did it take a trained eye to pick that up?
It does. There were three things that I pulled out of the video. The first one was the volume levels were turned down at the wrong time on one point. It was in pad mode triggered, and they trigger to the beat you set them at, so they'll blink and stuff, and they weren't going in sync with the music. And at one point, the control vinyl turning didn't match the control vinyl on Serato.
So in MJ's words, yes, it's only a trained eye that would know that it was.
Everybody doesn't see this.
No. Somebody off the street, just like going to a club where those club DJs are pre-recorded mixes. They don't know. They have no idea.
There's
plus the angle where the crowd's going to be seeing it. I mean, half the things you mentioned, one was on the screen, which you're not seeing. The other one was, at this angle, and I'm at this angle.
My whole thing about it is, just somebody off the street that's there for the entertainment and for the music. They don't even look to see if there's RCA cords attached. They don't look at that stuff. All they're looking at is that, if it's a girl, is that a hot DJ up there? Where's the bar? And when are you going to play One Dance by Drake? They're not looking at wires and cords and the dicer in the pads and volume. They're just out there having fun. Now the DJs that are going to these competitions and watching, that's like the Red Bull one that I support. Everybody here in Chicago, we're analyzing and we're watching and we're doing that, but the off the street people that are just there for the music and the entertainment, they have no idea what's pre-recorded and when. Just like in the clubs, they have no idea when, I'll do it tonight, that people are turning the knobs and it's all pre-recorded. So knob turn number 1 for the night.
They had one of the red.
As computing, not my faders.
We'll get you a whole night there working there. There was a Red Bull competition here in the city, and I watched the one guy stay on he was faking, and he stayed on the left side twice. And I literally went over the judges, and I'm like, "Did you see him stay on the left side twice and fake that?" And they're like, "What?" I'm like, you're paid to judge this. How am I seeing this from literally behind them, sitting in a chair, talking with people, and I saw it. So I don't know. I should be more on this because, and again, someone said in the thing about Paris Hilton, we're not talking in this sense about someone who does a pre-recorded mix and lets beat match into beat match into beat match. This competition involves scratching. It involves quick mixing. It involves crowd pumping. It involves transitions and genre changes are all in the rules. There are literal rules for this. And the guy almost got away with faking it.
Well, and it's a competition for that. It's like,
right, that's what
I get the whole faking it in the club to a degree. Not that I approve of it, but I get that. But when it's a competition,
a little bit different story.
Literally the rules. Literally your job is to mix and be judged on it. Literally.
There's gonna be a new rule written in: must do it live.
There was another article, because I found 2 articles, and one of them talked about how can we stop that, and they talked about having judges in the booth, because I think I don't understand why they don't now, because any competition I've ever been to, you've got 5 DJs that are like 2 feet from the DJ looking at everything, every hand, everything. I'm there too. I'm looking at it, and when a guy does something, I look up and see if he looks me in the eye. I'm like, I saw that. That's one of the things. The other thing they were talking about is that doing an overview of the deck so that people can see, like you said, Dan. So I don't know. Someone in the chat says they love you, Shani.
Oh, I love you guys. Here, DJ pose number 4. I'll hit them all.
You're gonna do that one. I'll do the Jesus pose.
Oh yeah. Well, funny story. Just to get off topic, a couple of the Pioneer guys had a competition. We were in Vegas one time when we all were spinning, of who could hit the most DJ poses while we were spinning, and I was like, I got this. I was like, it's for a bottle. Oh, I got this. Yeah. Yes, we were hitting all of them.
I'm guilty of one. I have to admit, I'm very guilty of one, and that's playing piano, air piano.
While you're DJing?
You ever see people do that? There was one of the different things about what type of DJ you are. Yeah, you're like
this.
Yeah. I'm on the decks, and I'm literally on the decks next. If I'm not mixing, I'm playing. And just I'm like living the music.
Who's the Charlie Brown character? It was not Linus.
Schroeder.
Who was it? Schroeder. DJ.
That's
Schroeder.
it. It's DJ Schroeder from now on.
Okay, we got one. Let's do one more topic, and then we'll wrap things up for tonight.
How long have we been going, John?
We're just a little over half an hour. I want to do.
We're gonna go an hour. This show is officially an hour, and if you don't think so, please write into John at Disc Jockey News. It must be an hour.
This is
go to sleep.
This is our summer. When we get into fall, gang, we will be going and keeping it to a half an hour because Dan is the responsible one in the room. Dan, what? We're going to keep it to a half an hour? What? Yeah.
No, I'll start it I'll pick up the show myself. We'll go. There's no way I can talk for any less time than I'm currently talking.
I'm going to bring an air horn for MJ and just start hitting it.
Oh, that'll make me start.
Oh, that's another one.
With his air piano.
When the fist pump thing was really big, my friend Dave and I were DJing in a club together, and he found an app that if you held the phone in your hand, it would count how many times you fist pump.
Oh, I need to bring that to Atlantic City.
Oh, man.
All right,
I love Big Daddy, but you give it to him, man, that'll be gone.
All right, we have 2 topics. I'll let you guys choose which one you want to do. I think we should do both because they're both short.
Okay.
One Dan came up with, it's human hearing loss could be reversible. And the other one John came up with is how do you build a wedding DJ library for cheap?
Dan, let's jump into the hearing one. I did not have a chance to look at that article, unfortunately. Give us kind of a synopsis of what that was about, please.
So basically, just came across this, and what they're starting to notice is that there's certain parts of our body that we just can't regrow. And what they've noticed is that within the ear canals, there's hairs and whatnot that are affected by sound and just age and different things like that. And what unfortunately has been the case is that through deterioration, you lose hearing. And so through some research and through some different things, they've started to kind of play with the idea of I don't say synthetic because it's not synthetic, but they're regrowing it in test areas and like kind of in little test tubes and whatnot like that. And then kind of replicating that on some animals, and they're starting to have success. So what was originally, potentially a problem might have a light at the end of the tunnel for us, especially those of us who kind of started having problems before we realized what we should be doing to avoid those problems. They're not saying anything, real specific right now about it, anything that, says it, but just, that it could be improved. Kind of also the side of this is from the result of the hair. This isn't a result of damage to the eardrum, which is a whole other aspect, a whole other problem that we can have for our hearing loss. But just the hairs, they say we're born with 15,000 of them, but because they don't regrow, we're screwed if we lose them.
Can I give some stats here?
Yeah,
go for it.
From an article that I wrote a while back about hearing loss, because hearing's important to me, because I always say that I want to keep listening to music long after I'm done playing it. And both my father and my grandfather had bad hearing. So I think that's kind of what's made me protect mine a lot. The company Protect for Hearing in the UK breaks down sound exposure with a sliding scale. If you're listening to music at 85 decibels, why are you pointing at French toast?
No, because I'm letting you talk, and I was just responding to the chat room.
Toast on the mic. If you listen to music at 85 decibels, your hearing is safe for about 8 hours. When it goes up 3 decibels, it cuts the safety time in half. If you consider the average club sound system is around 106 decibels, and I think that's very forgiving because most of the ones I've been at are way above 106, the math tells you that your ears are safe in that environment for around 4 minutes. Anything over 100 decibels for more than 15 minutes a day could be serious concern. Short-term exposure for over 120 decibels can be hearing loss in just a few minutes. Over 150 is permanent instantly. But like I said, if you look at that and think 106, I was helping a friend tune his restaurant, and it was 95 when he was tuning his restaurant at. And that's not even a club. So very easy to have hearing damage, and most DJs I know do.
And think about it, it's not even just DJs, you know, people listening to music nowadays and just, you know, putting the you know, earphones to their head, and how loud people are just, you know, movie theaters, all of that, you know, everything that's around us now, construction, all that stuff. And we're DJs. So it's like on top of all that.
Kids barking, dogs, you know, kids barking, dogs yelling.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's one of those things. My students think I'm the crotchety old guy because, you know, I'm sitting at my desk on the other side of the classroom. They're walking by in the hall, and if I'm hearing the earbuds, I come like running out. I'm like, listen, if I can hear it, it's too loud. And they think it's like because I have a problem with what they're listening to. In some cases that might be the case, but for the most part, it's like, you know, if these are earbuds and I'm 40 feet away and understanding what's being said, that's not good.
Yeah.
And too many of us have that problem. I know for myself, I learned mixing in my headphones. And I think that actually kind of helped me tremendously from when I first started, because I know a lot of my friends who, you know, they'd have the monitor, you know, 5 feet from their head cranked up, and they're mixing the cue in the headphone and the live with the monitor. And, you know, and it's like, I'm doing everything in my headphones, and it's like, it's at a volume I like, you know, I don't have to worry about blasting it in that case. And especially if you have the over ear, keeps things out.
I know friend of mine, DJ, he's not in that club anymore, but when he DJed in the big club, he literally had a 10-inch speaker in front of him and a 12-inch speaker behind him.
Just dumping away.
Just for him, monitor only. You could be out in the middle of the dance floor and watch, and you could tell when he turned his monitor on from the middle of the dance floor.
Oh yeah, one of the clubs here in Chicago, it's 2 monitors on both sides, just coming at you, and yeah, it's 10-inch ones just coming at you the whole time, and it's attached. I mean, it's a really cool DJ booth, but it's like it's attached to everything. So yeah, I mean, all night, that's just in your ears.
What?
Huh?
So that's when you get these things like the Vimora faders.
What do you say?
Or the Dubs acoustic filters.
I am a big fan of the Dub ones because you got to, if you look at the scientific setup of those, and in my article I talk about it, is that it doesn't, like a lot of earplugs just reduce the amount of decibels coming into your ear, and it sounds a little muddy and stuff like that. That one just simply lowers all the volumes evenly and doesn't crisscross them by flattening them out, like putting a pillow over your ear and how it kind of muffles. Those don't muffle. It just lowers the volume. Protect your ears. Trust me.
That's important.
Be a better mix DJ if you can hear what you're actually mixing.
And go get a hearing test every couple of years too. If you haven't, for a lot of the DJs, if you haven't ever done that, go do it. You know, it's well worth it just to see if, you know, what's going on in your eardrums and what's happening, that if you really do have a serious issue, you didn't even know about it.
I've seen some DJs jump to the in-ear monitors, and I understand some of that idea with that. I'm a little hesitant because I kind of think of it same with the earbuds. You're sticking it, like as we're all wearing them right now, except for MJ. you're sticking right there. And now that they're built quality, so they're also, and they're also going to work, to the same effect as the Dubs in that there's some help. But again, it's right there with no real reprieve or
a good in-ear monitor is a dual driver, so that because you're going to feel the bass. The ones that you saw in my pictures that one time, Dan, that you asked me what were they?
Mm-hmm.
It is a dual driver with an expanded system. So if anybody grabs a pair of Beats earbuds and tries to DJ with them, those are not what we're talking about. We're talking about professional ones that are fitted for your ear that are the difference. But Beats headphones, they may be cool, but I think that's what you're talking about, right, Dan? It's not using those, but using monitors, right?
Right. And I will say this also, those of you that are going to Atlantic City 2 years ago, I think I did. I went, they had a booth right there and they took a mold of my ear. And now I didn't do the inner monitors. I actually bought ear plugs from that company. But just with this simple thing, I was like, listen, I need to protect it. Now, the bad thing is I feel very weird on a microphone with those in. I practiced and that's where I have problems. So sometimes what I'll do is when I'm doing my announcements in the beginning of the night on a wedding and stuff like that, they're out, they're not anywhere near me. And then once I get into my mixing where I only have a little hype stuff or more of that style, then I can put them in and protect it. And that's when you're getting the loud volumes anyway. So.
And don't use Bose speakers because they bleed really loud to the back.
They do.
Did you just go there on the Bose company?
No, it's a reality. I was using the Bose for, I think I started the Bose when they came out with the 802 Series 2. I got them about 3 or 4 years after they started those, so I've had them forever. And the Bose have such a wide dispersion that you're getting a lot back by you. And then when I went to the ELSA, their cylindrical systems when they first came out, even more was coming back. And I'm playing at loud volumes, and I love that room filling sound. But when I went back to horn loaded speakers, it's amazing how much quieter I am back by me. So, just one of those.
Most people tell me I'm smoking crack when I say that.
Yeah, well, you probably are for other reasons, but for this one, you're right on.
No, I'm a marker sniffer, just for the record.
Marker
You don't smoke. What do you do? You do marker sniffing.
Okay, last topic then, and we'll.
Oh, are we going with that?
Are we going with it? Because it's going to be long. You know that.
This we're good.
You don't want to save it because it's going to be a long one.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I don't think it is. We can. I don't know. It's a good topic.
It's a good. Yeah,
it's going to be long or short. I just think it's going to be informative. That's all. It's up to you. We could just leave.
No, let's do it. Somebody asked about it. Let's do it.
Are we going to leave it open to the? Easy, what's it? My idea on this, I'm gonna say it really fast here because they're just 5 little things. Craigslist hard drive.
Wait. We gotta get the topic. Yeah.
How to build a wedding library, a wedding DJ library. Okay.
For cheap.
Craigslist hard drive. Ask a friend.
Ding, ding, ding.
It depends if they're just helping you or you're asking a friend for their hard drive.
That's asking a friend for a hard drive. Yeah. Lots of money. That's a possibility. Ripped from old vinyl or old CDs.
I do that.
Yeah, you may need to do that. Yeah.
I do that.
The last one, promo only platinum series. Funny story. Friend of mine gave it to me on CDs a bazillion years ago. I transferred it over to MP3s. Last year, he come up to me, he goes, hey, did you still have those that I gave to you? And I'm like, I transferred them over to MP3s. He goes, can I have the MP3s? So he gave me the CDs. I transferred them to MP3s and then gave back to him. But promo only, please don't sue us.
Nick, Ricky, Glenn, you didn't hear this. Okay, we're going to edit that one.
Wait, wasn't that the series that got him in trouble anyway? Or am I always thinking of the other one?
What's that?
Wasn't that the series that was...
All of them. All of the series. Because you had ETV was involved with one of the sets, and the Mobile Beat came out of Texas for what were they TM Century at that time, and I don't remember the Platinum series was
God, I know I had to burn all of those to MP3.
I still have the little papers that it came.
I have the little papers.
Told you what CD they were on, how long they were, how many beats per minute they were.
Yes.
These were 8x10 sheets that I when I'm DJing, I'm scrolling through them, going, okay, this is here. Here's where I
No,
need.
they weren't. That wasn't the original ones.
No, the originals were the little pieces. Yeah, the little pieces
I
that.
had it in the book though. I had this.
This is-
Oh, you had the book.
This
You had
is the
binder
originals.
book.
That's
This,
what I had going right there.
yeah, this is the originals right here, and they had it by category and everything.
That's what I had.
So John, can I borrow those CDs for?
Can I listen? Can I listen to those CDs for like 4 days?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
need to look at them when we're in Atlantic City, just because
There was
there's songs I'm missing.
There's that one song I wasn't sure how to spell it. Can I look at the disc and see if it's on there so I can spell it right?
If you want them, I already have the entire series up on Google Drive. Now,
Hey, you know what?
no, seriously, what can we do if you
Are we
want?
talking about all of our legal habits from the past?
Let's talk about something legal. How does
legal becomes much more difficult because finding old songs is your hang up. You can get your things in the last 3 years.
early 2000s old, right?
Anything that's 3 years and older.
I was joking about that.
I know, but everything 3 years and older.
That is the law, right? If I'm correct on that.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got to have special licensing to be able to do that, and none of the labels, promo, TM, none of those have it for MP3 or audio tracks. But they can supply radio stations those audio tracks, but they can't do mobile DJs. So if you want to get a back library of songs, there's really two ways to do it. One is to go to iTunes and handpick, or pawn shops and CDs and go that route. I mean, you can certainly do that. But really, iTunes or Amazon Music are really kind of the only ways to go and fill a back library of songs. And you can go to Amazon, you can buy some of these greatest hits of the 70s discs. I mean, surprising the number of compilations that are there on Amazon. It's crazy. And you can't get those on iTunes.
And there's some record pools, like my friend does remixes for, I think, Select Mix. And they do, they're remixes, but they do like a disco series and a rock series and a Motown series, and they do stuff like that. It's just more of, redrums and stuff like that. But, I'll say this, any real DJ is going to tell you DJing is not cheap.
Yeah.
So if somebody says to you, I'm a DJ and this is, it's so cheap, I don't even want to talk, like, bye, boo-boo. Like, I don't even want to talk to you, because music, equipment, everything, you always say to your clients, like, why, they want a discount, they want this, they want that. Why would you do it for yourself? I want the best of the best. DJing is not cheap. So let's not, undercut ourselves. And when it comes to music, we gotta spend money on it. We gotta, get the best stuff, because remember, we're not playing it in our car. We're not playing this music off of an iPad. You're playing it through professional speakers. So you want to play that song you ripped from YouTube or you got somewhere. The minute you put those in those EVs or whatever speakers you're playing through with everything, it's not going to sound great at all. In fact, it's going to sound like doo-doo brown. Like, it really is. Yes, MJ, I said doo-doo brown.
Chicago thing. I wouldn't expect it. I was going to ask the chat room, what was the one subscription service where you paid a penny for whatever it was? It was Columbia?
Columbia House.
Yeah.
Columbia
BMG.
House. Wasn't it Columbia House?
Both
Was
of them
that
were
it?
like that. Yeah, you could buy 10 for a penny, and then you had to buy 8 over the next 3 years or
They
something.
did an episode on the Goldbergs about that. Yeah.
But it's not.
What I always found funny was when I'd have somebody come up at an event, and this was a few years ago, and they like see all the equipment, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that must have been expensive," and I'm like, "Yeah, but no, the music is worth."
All right. There's some questions in the chat room that we're talking about this. Somebody asked about streaming from iTunes Radio. What are your thoughts about that, guys? And then another person asked about SoundCloud.
Fake.
Well, the iTunes Radio, I mean, are you pulling the actual song up? Because half the times when I'm doing iTunes Radio, you're getting a channel. You're not getting a song.
You can with some of these services now, Slacker Radio and different ones, you can actually go search for the song, find the song, get it into a queue on the phone, and have it somewhat predictable when it would play. Which is interesting because, I mean, while we've been with the kids, we're driving back and forth to St. Cloud. The kids are in the back seat, and the kids we're listening to, and they're like, "We don't want to hear that song. We want to hear this song." So Lori goes and searches for it, and bing, bing, boom, boom, boom.
I guess that would work. I'm not talking in the car, but as a DJ, that doesn't mix, well, who's going to know the difference? Because he doesn't mix anyways. Lazy.
But and we talked about this about a month ago that eventually we're going to be going to a streaming service and how that's going to load and play and et cetera with that. So obviously there's going to be some options that are there, and I'm hoping there's going to be some backlog options for that.
Because one of them I heard talking about that, and they were talking like $3 a song for older songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, the older songs are more expensive, and Jose's telling us no bueno, don't do it. Oh, he didn't say no bueno, I said no bueno, and it wasn't because his name is Jose. I'm just saying no bueno. I think he said about the streaming. I think Jose's talking about the streaming service, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm on the same wavelength as him. Yeah, he said don't do it. It's not a good idea.
Yeah. But we've all know guys that get some sort of internet connection and grab stuff off YouTube while they're out there too. I have a friend that is chronic for that, where he'll literally pull up the page and play it from the page. I'm like, you're not even ripping it. You're literally paying it from the internet. I'm like, yeah, I'm letting it, buffer. Oh my gosh, I don't know you. I am not standing next to you right now.
I went to a wedding for a friend of mine, and the guy they had running the ceremony, the bride came out to a song, and they introed. It was the artist introing the song, like, "Thank you guys so much for supporting our track." And here it is.
Like a live recording. They did the live recording one.
And I just turned to my wife, and I like bit my tongue, because I was just like, it was a friend of mine. I understand what they did. They didn't hire me, whatever. But it was still one of those things. I was just like, I'm now. Granted, the guy who got mad and they kicked the DJ out about halfway through the night anyway. But there was other reasons for that too. But I was just like, I don't understand that mentality of playing it. Well, I guess I do understand it, because they're so used to it. A lot of people are so used to it. I want a song where I don't go try and find it to download it. I pull it up on YouTube and I listen to it.
I seriously have to control myself when someone walks up to the booth and goes, "Can't you just YouTube it?"
Yep.
That is a test of my self-control of treating them like you treated that light earlier, Dan.
But again, you have to understand, these are people off the street. They're not DJs. Just like when they hand you their phone and say, "Here, just play it off my phone."
Take it, just stick
well,
it.
That's the mentality. They never put it through a big sound system to, with amplification.
Because they don't know. And that's another thing, like, talking to your clients and explaining things to your clients and explaining why your cost is so much, or explaining about your music library and explaining these things. And because again, clients, they're off the street. They don't understand all the things that go into, like people say, like, I'm doing a 5-hour wedding, and people think, oh, you're just working for 5 hours. No, the preparation work, the this, the that, all these hours. It's not that I'm just doing a 5-hour event. And sometimes you just have to break it down to your clients and explain. And a lot of them, once you break it down to them, the light bulb goes off and they get it. Some other clients just will never get it, and it is what it is. And, you talk about them, but it's like, I can't be upset unless they come up to me 3 times in a row with telling me to YouTube it or their phone. But, like when somebody just does it to me, I just explain to them, I can't, I don't have any capability to play a song off of, and then I kind of just hide my backup jack, that's attached to the mixer. I just try to hide that and move my iPad out of the way. But, it's like, you have to just explain to them.
That's something we need to talk about in the future, John, is about how much time a wedding DJ puts into one event, like not being at the event, including the time at the event, all the meetings, all the prep time, all the music, everything. Because that's something that I don't think a lot of people realize, calls, meetings, emails for one client.
Yeah,
that's half the reason I don't do weddings. So I don't want to talk to people that much.
Yep. I've got to my August 5th wedding. When I get done with that one, that would actually be a good one to talk to, because that has been a very elaborate production with that wedding. So good one to talk about. We should wrap things up. We are now approaching the 1 hour time frame. Yeah.
Approaching. We still got time then.
Hey, Ian brought up a quick question. If we have just
Yeah.
5 seconds here without going into too much detail. But Ian's question is, give it to us. Why does it sound bad?
Oh,
It comes down to a couple different things, but it's the quality that is put up so that when you stream it, it comes through faster.
Mhm.
I mean, point blank, that's, plus I would imagine the size on their servers so that it's not taking up 8
YouTube does a compression on audio, no matter what it is, that it changes it. So it's whether it be a video that John and I are uploading of us doing a review or someone uploading a song, just the second it gets up there, it's changed.
And,
Right.
and it's really just, and if you're not noticing it because you're listening to it on a smaller scale, take, YouTube, some song you have in your collection that you came from a quality source, and play it through on YouTube. Now turn around and play it through in the system, and you probably should, at least you should, be able to hear a difference on those bigger systems. Are you can hear it in the little earbuds that you have plugged in? Probably not. Put it through your 12-inch, EVs or QSC, whatever, and yeah, you better be hearing a difference.
You'll definitely hear that difference. I mean, it's huge. And first of all, I'm going to say this: you shouldn't be ripping music from YouTube. First of all, that's not for professional DJs. That's not where we should be getting our music at all. No Craigslist, no hard drive from your friend.
Borrow the CD from the library.
Borrow John's CD, Platinum Series. But the sound quality, you definitely, just like Dan said, you hear the difference in a heartbeat through the speakers. You just do. I mean, go to Best Buy or go to any Fry's or any big system that has the music playing through speakers, and you just like when you go and you look at TVs and and you look at the LCD TVs and the LED, all those, you can see the color and the different colors. For DJs, we can hear the sound quality, or you should, as a DJ, be able to hear the sound quality. Just like when you're sound checking, everybody should be, I shouldn't have to say this, but everybody should be sound checking. And sound checking isn't just saying testing 1, 2, 3, or, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, in a microphone. Sound checking, because you need to hear all the levels, whether it be in the microphone or being in the music. And that's why some people have, this could be a total other topic, because some people have certain songs that they always sound check with, because in their opinion, those songs check all the levels of the music and the beats and all the stuff. And you can hear the bass and you can hear this. And that's, just like saying professional music, guys. I'm just going to say that, because that's a whole nother topic.
for sure.
Craigslist.
For sure.
Funny story real quick, and I'm done here.
Okay.
Somebody sent me a picture. It's RTG, if he's still on tonight. Send me a picture. Somebody had DJ equipment on sale on Craigslist, and it had one of my stickers on his case. And I'm like, I still this day, I don't know who the person is, but they had an MJ sticker on their case selling the full, turntables and everything on Craigslist. Thought it was kind of funny. Sorry.
Very, very good. Ian, sometimes with the Bose L system, I couldn't hear the differences between poor quality MP3 rips and more extensive MP3. I don't know if that's something in the Bose, the technology. I think the tone match with the Bose makes a huge difference in some of that capability. I can hear it more on a horn loaded, like a traditional sound system, than I can with the other. Finally, when you're talking cell phones and sound quality, is that these things, the digital audio converter that are in these things is so varied quality-wise that a cell phone can sound okay, and in some cell phones, even the current models, sound nothing like what your laptop going through a quality digital DJ controller. So they make a big difference. Have the right gear to do the job. Okay, I think that's it. We're good. We made it.
Everybody's looking at the chat room.
I haven't got much of my Emoticon game going on. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to drop some.
Oh, you got to get emoticons. Yeah, I haven't gotten enough of them. Time.
Done in there. There they are. There's the musical notes, so that I can go Craigslist music.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, last thing, and then I got to go. The coolest thing with music and such, when we were doing this whole researching legal and illegal music, the RIAA had requested that we go and purchase a set of bootleg CDs. They're actually DVDs that someone had ripped, and we bought 100 albums that were the CDs that this guy had ripped, and he was selling them through eBay. So we ended up getting this, I don't know, 10, 12 DVDs, and it had 100 albums, and it had like all the big albums, Queen's Greatest Hits and this Greatest Hits and that Greatest Hits. I mean, there was some great music there. And RIAA had requested that we buy it so we could show them the information and to shut this guy down, which they eventually did. The interesting thing with it is that I thought once they wanted us to buy it, they wanted us to maybe ship them the evidence so that they could actually shut him down. No, they never did. So they're sitting in, I think, in one of the files somewhere that we have these things. But it was just the darndest thing. So yeah, there were lots of ways to get music illegally back a few years ago. Okay, I think I'm done. MJ, Shani, Dan, thank you much for being on tonight.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Yep, thank you guys for watching. If you are watching out on Facebook, thank you very much. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up if you like these types of shows and such. That kind of gives us an idea if you like it. If you're feeling the urge to give us a thumbs down, hey, well, that's okay, because you know what? You're interacting, and YouTube still shows us the love for your interaction. So put a thumbs down. Go in there, make a comment.
Don't make me pimp slap you.
Oh.
Can't believe we don't have that on video.
Who paid for it? Ian. I ended up paying for it. They were $80 for the this 100 the rips of 100 albums is what, because again, I thought they would be wanting the discs, and they were going to say, oh yeah, and how much was it, and they would cover it. They just the guy had sent me the link and said, hey, could you buy this for your, because we wanted to have it and we were going to do an article on it. And then when it came time to interview them, they never wanted to go on and give us an official opinion. So this is about 2006 or so stuff. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. We are doing our Monday night show. We'll be back again. We're going to have to give time next week. Is going to be a little bit different. We're going to talk about this when we get off the air. Watch for the posted times because it's going to be a little bit different next Monday night.
2-hour show.
All right. Good night, everyone. Good night.